Admiral Lysander Vex stood in the pristine war room of the Imperial Citadel, staring at the holographic display that had remained unchanged for 300 years. The golden dots, representing Emperor Aurelius's royal fleet, still pulsed steadily in the Andromeda void, their signals strong and reassuring. According to official records, the Emperor continued his great crusade across distant galaxies, expanding the Terran Empire's influence beyond the known universe. It was the most essential lie in galactic history. The anniversary broadcasts are ready for transmission, Admiral, reported Communications Director Helena Cross, her voice carefully neutral. She was one of only 12 people in the galaxy who knew the truth about the Royal Fleet's fate. Lysander nodded, his weathered face betraying none of the weight he carried. For 3 centuries, the Terran Empire had been held together by the belief that Emperor Aurelius still lived, still conquered, still watched over his subjects from beyond the galactic rim. The reality was far more fragile. The Emperor's royal fleet had vanished exactly 312 years ago, not in glorious battle against alien adversaries, but in a catastrophic navigation error that had sent 3,000 ships and their crews into a dimensional rift near the Sagittarius Arm. No survivors. No wreckage. No trace except for the automated distress beacon that had transmitted for exactly 17 minutes before cutting to silence. "Begin the transmission," Lysander ordered. Across the galaxy, trillions of citizens gathered around their communication arrays to hear the annual message from their beloved Emperor. The voice that spoke was a perfect reconstruction, built from centuries of archived speeches and maintained by the Empire's most skilled technicians. "My loyal subjects," the false Emperor's voice resonated across space. "The Great Crusade continues to bring order to the darkness beyond our borders. New worlds bow before the might of the Terran Empire, and our influence grows with each passing year." Lysander closed his eyes as the lie washed over the galaxy once more. In the early days after the disaster, the cover-up had been a temporary measure by time to prevent panic while they searched for survivors. But as years became decades, and decades became centuries, the lie had become the foundation upon which galactic civilization rested. "Admiral," Helena whispered, "we're receiving priority transmissions from the Outer Rim territories. The separatist movements are gaining strength again." This was the constant threat that kept Lysander awake at night. The Emperor's supposed presence beyond the galaxy was the only thing preventing full-scale civil war. Without the unifying figure of Aurelius, the Terran Empire would fragment into 1,000 warring factions within months. "Increase the frequency of the fleet status updates," Lysander ordered. "Make sure the separatists know the Emperor is watching." But even as he gave the command, Lysander could feel the foundations cracking. The lie was becoming harder to maintain with each passing year. Some sectors were demanding direct communication with the Emperor. Others questioned why the Great Crusade had taken 3 centuries with no concrete results to show for it. "Sir," called out Intelligence Officer Marcus Kane from across the war room, "we have a problem. The Centauri Federation is demanding proof of the Royal Fleet's continued existence. They're threatening to withdraw from the Empire if they don't receive direct visual confirmation within the standard year." Lysander's blood ran cold. The Centauri Federation controlled 17 star systems and commanded the second-largest fleet in the galaxy. Their defection would trigger a cascade of separations that would tear the Empire apart. "Options?" he asked, though he already knew there were none. "We could fabricate visual transmissions," Helena suggested hesitantly, "but the technology has advanced significantly since the Emperor's time. Any detailed analysis would reveal the deception." "We could stage a false return," Kane offered. "Select a loyal admiral, modify his appearance, claim the Emperor has returned to deal with growing unrest." The war room fell silent. In 3 centuries, no one had dared speak those words aloud. "The truth would destroy everything," Lysander replied. "Trillions of lives depend on the stability the Empire provides." Without the Emperor, we'd have chaos, war, entire civilizations wiping each other out. But the lie is already failing, Helena pressed. Every year, more people question the story. Eventually, someone will uncover the truth, and then we'll have chaos anyway, plus the added betrayal of centuries of deception. Lysander turned back to the holographic display, watching the false signals from the royal fleet pulse steadily in the void. Each dot represented a ship that no longer existed, a crew that had died centuries ago, a truth that had been buried to preserve the peace. "Admiral," Kane reported, "we're receiving an urgent transmission from the Deep Space Monitoring Station at Kepler 442. They're detecting massive energy signatures in the Andromeda void. Something's coming through the dimensional barriers." Lysander's heart stopped. Impossible. Nothing could survive in dimensional space for 3 centuries. But even as he spoke, the holographic display began updating with new contacts. Massive ships, their energy signatures matching Imperial technology, but modified beyond recognition, were emerging from the same dimensional rift that had swallowed the royal fleet. "Admiral," the communications officer called out, her voice shaking. "We're receiving a transmission on the Emperor's personal frequency. It's actually him." Emperor Aurelius's face appeared on the main screen, aged and scarred by centuries in dimensional space, but unmistakably alive. Behind him, the bridge of his flagship showed modifications that spoke of desperate survival and adaptation to impossible conditions. "My loyal subjects," the Emperor's voice carried the weight of centuries. "I have returned from the darkness beyond reality itself. The Great Crusade has revealed truths about our universe that will reshape everything we believe. Prepare for my arrival, we have much to discuss." Lysander stared at the screen in shock, realizing that their greatest lie was about to become the most impossible truth. The Emperor they had pretended was alive for 3 centuries, had somehow actually survived, transformed by his journey through dimensions that existed beyond normal space-time. The galaxy would soon learn that sometimes the most essential lies become the foundation for the most extraordinary realities. The royal fleet had never reached its intended destination, but it had found something far more significant, a path to survival that would challenge everything the Empire thought it knew about the universe itself. As the returning fleet approached Imperial space, Lysander understood that the lie that had held the galaxy together